everyone, my name is Carol and I live in Wake Forest, North Carolina, and today for my cooking demo I'm going to make apple strudel, but I'm not going to do the German version, I'm going to do the American version. In Germany they roll out pastry really thin and roll it up and roll it up. I am going to use puff pastry because it's really easy to use. It's such a quick and easy fast fall dessert. And I'm also going to use Granny Smith apples because number one, they're really easy to find. You can send your husband in, your kids in, and just say, get me the green apples. They're cost effective, and also they hold up to the heat in the oven so you won't have an apple strudel that has applesauce inside. So let's get started. So I have my Granny Smith apple, and I'm going to quickly peel it. Try not to get the apple peels all over the place. And one thing about apple peels and potato peels, never put them down the garbage disposal because it's the one thing that can clog up a garbage disposal big time. So anyway, so I got my apple all peeled, and I'm going to use an apple slicer. You don't have to use one, but it's a lot easier if you do it. So I have my apples, and then I'm going to get my knife, and I am going to cut them in all pretty much equal pieces because I want them to bake really consistently. So I'm going to do 3 large apples, and on top of that, I am going to add some lemon juice because I don't want the apples to turn brown. And if you don't have lemon juice, you can use orange juice, you can use lime, grapefruit juice. So anyway, so I'm going to do that and toss it a little bit. So I have some wonderful puff pastry here, and you can find it in the freezer section of any supermarket. I like a brand that they sell at a specialty food store October through December, but any brand that you can find would be great. So anyway, you defrost it in the refrigerator overnight and unroll it, and then I like to put a little bit of flour on my cutting board. Oh, and hopefully this doesn't stick together. If it does a little bit, don't worry about it. There we go. You want to keep it chilled because if you take it out, it tends to stick like this. I think I took it out a little bit, but there you go. Okay, there we go. So I have that. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on it so it doesn't stick and it can move around. And just give it a quick roll. And so here are my beautiful apples. And to those, I am going to add a half a tablespoon of white sugar, a half a tablespoon of brown sugar. I am going to add some cinnamon, probably about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. You don't want to add too much. I'm going to give that a little stir. I'm going to add about a half a tablespoon of butter that I cut up in little pieces. And then this is where it gets really fun, at least for me. You can add all other type of ingredients. I have some cranberries that look great in it, some toasted walnuts. I have some dark raisins, and I have some light raisins. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in it. You don't want to have too much because you really want the apples to be the star of this. A couple of cranberries and some crushed walnuts. A little bit more walnuts. Okay, so with that, I'm going to give it a good stir. And then I'm going to pile it all in the middle. Oh, doesn't that look great? And you want to make sure that you have it right in the middle and don't put it all the way to the end. And with that, I'm going to take some cold water and I'm just going to run it around the side. And I'm going to pick it up and then I'm just going to join it together at the seam in the middle. You can roll it to the side, but sometimes if it's going to leak, it'll leak out and you don't want to have a soggy bottom to it. So do it all like that. And then for the ends, I'm just going to pinch them up a little bit. And that end. Oh, doesn't that look great? And then I have a little bit of egg wash here, which is 1 egg and a little bit of water. And I'm just going to brush that on the top of it really lightly. You don't want to get it, you don't want to have it pool on it, but you want to do it really lightly. And then I have my baking sheet, which definitely you want to use parchment paper on this. The last thing you want this to do is to leak all over your oven. Okay. And then I am going to put a couple slashes in it because I want the steam to escape somewhere. So we're going to put it in the oven at 400 for about 20 to 25 minutes, and you want to check it after 15 and see how it's browning because you want it to get really, really nice and brown. Oh, and the last thing is a little bit of decorative sugar. And I'm just going to sprinkle over the top there. Okay, put it in. I'm going to put it in the oven, 400 for 20 to 25 minutes, and your house is going to smell incredible. My house smells so incredible. Let me check my apple strudel. Oh, look at that. It's absolutely perfect. There you go. So I'm going to, so usually get about 6 to 8 servings out of this. Depends on how much you want to give a person. So I'm just going to slice it. It's a little warm. I'm going to put it on my dessert plate. Let me get this out of the way there. And I like to serve it with some ice cream. So I'm going to do a little bit of vanilla ice cream on the top. There we go. And then I always like to put some more color with the dessert. So I love doing blueberries. So I'm just going to place some blueberries on that. And there we go. Perfect fall dessert, apple strudel.